Soil fertility. The key to any good crop growth and development and productivity is soil fertility. As I mentioned, a soil test should be done for that particular location where the crop is to be grown. The benefits of soil testing is helping to identify soil nutrient status of that soil. Also, let's look at the physical and chemical factors that might be limiting that growth of that particular crop. So once you have done your soil test, you can actually correct that. Identify if the soil needs to be amended, if you need to add organic matter to improve the water holding capacity, the nutrient holding capacity of the soil, the actual structure of the soil, or amended with organic matter improves that. That improves the soil quality. Fertilizer use efficiency is increased as the appropriate rates for that particular crop and soil type is recommended. In that, when you apply your fertilizer, you know if you're to apply 350 pounds of nitrogen per acre, that is what is required for the field and for that crop. So you're meeting that crop need and that crop demand based on your soil type and based on that crop. You don't add nothing less or nothing more. Over-fertilization can result in negative impacts on the crop and also in the environment. Hence the reason why I said soil testing, it can be a management tool in helping you to manage your fertility in your soil and your crop nutrition. You're able to determine what nutrients need to be applied and what quantity you need to apply that. So it's a very key component in soil fertility. In your fertilizer program, you look at fertilizer application. And this again should be based on a soil test and also the crop requirements. Appropriate fertilizers should be selected for application to ensure that you apply the right fertilizer, the right type of fertilizer to the field so the crops get the required nutrients. Recommended rates should be applied again based on crop requirement. Fertilizer equipment should be maintained and calibrated. If you're applying fertilizer at a particular rate, you want to ensure that piece of equipment you're using is actually applying that amount of fertilizer at the rate. Because anything different would mean the crop is not getting the required nutrients and would affect the crop growth and development and productivity at the end of the day. So you must ensure you maintain the equipment and also calibrate it on a regular basis. Records should be kept of all fertilizer application. This is very important, record keeping. Again, we will discuss that later on the line. It helps to manage your fertilizer program and make any adjustments according to what your information gathered on your crop productivity during that time. Another part we're talking about is actual fertilizer storage. How we store our fertilizer. It should be stored properly. It should be stored in a dry, clean, and covered environment, not exposed to the elements. It should be separate from other agrochemicals and planter material, even not stored via produce. It should be elevated off the ground, not in contact with moisture, to avoid being wet or becoming contaminated. As such, if you're using urea, as urea gets wet, it just breaks down one time and then contaminates the environment through runoff, leakage, and that kind of thing. If you're using organic fertilizers, it should be well composted and not fresh manure, as I said. Manure should be incorporated in the soil because that's really benefits where the crops actually can utilize it. Once it's incorporated in the soil, if you leave it on the top of the soil, it's exposed to run off. Again, as another thing, it's another source of probably contamination risk because it's close to the crop. If you're using leafy vegetables, the organic matter gets in contact with the leaf, can introduce any pathogens onto that leaf. So you have to be sure that you incorporate that into the soil, and again, to prevent runoff. Manure sources, application rate, field applied, and time of application should be recorded. You should know where you're getting your manure from. You should know if it has been composted, or as I say, reached the stage of being cured, how long it has been there, right? You have to know the application rate you need to apply. Again, this will be based on the soil test. Then you will know how much fertilizer, how much you need to apply, which field you apply that manure to, or the organic matter, because in the instance that something happened to occur, you need to be able to trace right back to the origin. So which field had that manure application, so which crop came from that, and which crop went down through the supply chain, so you'll be able to trace back. Hence the reason why it's very important to be recording these practices, keeping records.